Every single day, you're interacting with this giant financial machine, right? Moving money around without even thinking about it. But have you ever stopped to wonder just how massive that machine actually is? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on one company that's moving an amount of money in Nigeria that is, well, it's pretty hard to believe.
Just look at that number, 412 trillion naira. That's not a typo. That is the amount of money a single company processed in 1 year, right here in Nigeria. And I'm willing to bet it's not the company you're thinking of. Now, while you're trying to wrap your head around that 412 trillion figure, get this. While all the big traditional banks are making it harder to get loans, this same company was quietly handing out over 1 trillion naira in loans. And the crazy part? It was mostly to small, everyday Nigerian businesses in 2025. So what on earth is going on here? Welcome back to the channel, finance people. If you are just finding me, a hearty welcome from the JoshLM finance crew. I'll be your guide today. So get out your pen and pad and let's break this down. Today, we are talking all about a company called Moniepoint.
Okay, so Moniepoint didn't just pop up overnight and become this financial behemoth. No way. It actually started back in 2015, and it wasn't even called Moniepoint. It was a company called Team Apt. And there was no big launch, no splashy ads. They were just in the background, quietly building the plumbing of the financial system.
So let's fast forward from those quiet early days. Today, Moniepoint, through its microfinance bank, is now processing a huge chunk of Nigeria's daily in-person payments with their little POS terminals. I mean, we're talking about millions of businesses, your local shop, the market vendor, all using their systems to get paid every single day. It's not just a service anymore. It's become the financial backbone for so many.
And this slide just lays out the sheer scale of it all. In 2025 alone, over 14 billion transactions. The total value? That's the 412 trillion we talked about earlier. That's hundreds of billions of US dollars, by the way. And this is all moving through one single fintech ecosystem. What's really wild about this, what this really implies, is that Moniepoint isn't just another app on your phone. At this point, it's becoming critical financial infrastructure for the country.
Okay, let's get into the secret sauce, because this is where things get really smart. Moniepoint didn't just want to process payments. They used that unique position to lend out over 1 trillion naira to small businesses.
And who are these businesses? We're not talking about fancy tech startups or big corporations. No, look at this list. These are the businesses you see on your street every single day. The provision store, the supermarket, the guy selling building materials, the traders in the market. I mean, these are the exact businesses that traditional banks have allegedly shied away from for years because they're seen as too risky or too informal. So how did they pull it off? How did they lend so much to the unlendable? The answer is right here, data. It's beautiful, really. Instead of demanding a mountain of paperwork that a small shop owner probably doesn't have, Moniepoint just looks at the data they already have. The real, live transaction history from their own POS machines. It's so simple. Your sales history is your credit profile. Your actual cash flow is your collateral. It completely flips the old model on its head.
Let's just walk through how this works step by step. 1. A business starts using a Moniepoint POS terminal. 2. All that transaction data automatically builds a detailed financial profile of the business. 3. That consistent, proven cash flow acts as the collateral for a loan. And boom, step 4, the business gets access to working capital. This isn't just lending people. This is like pumping fuel directly into the engine of the informal economy. And speaking of fuel, if you're getting some value out of this breakdown, could you do me a quick solid and just tap that subscribe button? We are on a mission to hit 1,000 subscribers, and honestly, every single click helps us get closer to that goal. Thanks so much, it really means the world. Okay, let's get back to it.
So this all brings up a pretty big question. Why aren't the huge traditional banks all over this? Well, to put it simply, they're cautious, especially when it comes to lending to SMEs, small and medium-sized businesses. I mean, you've got high inflation, fears about defaults, regulatory hurdles. It's a complicated space for them.
And this chart just lays it out perfectly. While traditional banks are cautious, Moniepoint fully embraces these businesses. While the banks are buried in paperwork, Moniepoint is looking at live, real-time data. And this is the key. This means the banks perceive a much higher risk, while Moniepoint can actually manage the risk because they have the hard data. They've taken the guesswork right out of it. And this quote just, it sums up the whole thing. It's the core of the strategy. They aren't lending money based on a promise or some fancy business plan that looks good on paper. They are lending based on proven, verifiable cash flow that they can see with their own 2 eyes every single day.
It's a fundamentally smarter way to figure out who's creditworthy in this part of the economy.
All right, so this is all super interesting, but what's the bottom line? What does this actually mean for you, for me, for everyone? Let's break down the takeaways for a few different groups.
If you're a small business owner, listen up, because this is huge. Your transaction history, the record of your sales, is no longer just for your own books. It is now your most powerful asset for getting a loan. So keeping clean, consistent digital records through a service like this, that's not just good bookkeeping, it's a power move for your finances.
Now, for all my investors and finance followers out there, you need to be watching this space closely. This isn't just a cool story about a Nigerian company. This is a textbook case study of how fintech in emerging markets can completely jump over the old, slow, traditional banking systems by solving a real problem that the big guys couldn't or just wouldn't touch.
And for the economy as a whole? This whole thing proves where the real growth is coming from. It's not always happening in the shiny corporate towers. The real engine of the economy is the daily hustle of millions of small businesses. And when you empower them with capital, you create real, bottom-up growth. It's that simple.
And you can really feel this change in sentiment on the ground. The reaction online has been this mix of national pride and just pure shock at the numbers. A lot of Nigerians are looking at this and saying, see, our local tech companies are not playing small anymore. They're becoming serious, vital institutions in their own right.
So as we wrap this up, remember, this isn't just about one company's insane stats. What's happening with Moniepoint is a signal. It's a sign that the very future of finance across Africa is being built right now, from the ground up, by companies that truly understand the local market. Which leaves us with one final big question to think about. I'd love to know what you think in the comments. Is this model sustainable? What other fintech companies are out there that we should be looking at? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Please share it with someone you love, and I'll see you in our next video. Cheers!